what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the Bold Standard Podcast. We're here on a fun Friday show, getting you guys ready for the weekend. Since we play on Monday Night Football. Justin, how you feeling, man? Heading into week two.
Feel better if we didn't have a 9 p.m. kickoff over here for us. But
Yeah,
no, I'm excited, man. Still riding on a little bit of high from last week. Obviously, great win over the Kansas City Chiefs. It's just one game, but like we talked about, I mean, I think it's a really it's a statement game. It was a statement game for us, statement game for a lot of different players on the team, statement game for Greg Roman,
yeah.
as a coordinator and just a play caller. So no, I'm super excited, man. Super excited to talk about, Chargers and obviously it's Raiders week.
Raiders
Um,
week.
just excited to get into it, man.
Yeah, a lot to get into when it comes to Raiders week. We'll touch real quick on that week one victory. It doesn't get any better than winning that first week, being in the top half of the league. Only half the league is 1-0 right now. We're one of them. So it just feels good to ride that high Monday through Friday at work. We're both over here in the Midwest in KC territory, so we get to have bragging rights for the first time in 8 matchups. So, don't know about you, but I was feeling good wearing my Chargers gear all week, every day to work and all that. So yeah, we'll jump right into it. First thing we did, just want to touch real quickly on just a quick recap. We did our post game show. If you guys didn't catch that, check out the page. Check out TikTok. There's been a couple posts we've had out there of that, quick clips. But after reviewing some more film and seeing, how the media has consumed it as well, what are just your final thoughts on that win over KC last Friday?
I mean, I think it just showed us that even with I think it was can't remember what analyst was saying it. I don't want to say the wrong name, but they talked about, obviously Roman's play calling. And we know that, Roman, I mean, as a coordinator, his MO is running the ball, physical smash mouth, run the ball. Um, but what was so exciting about what we were able to do in the passing game, even though we weren't that effective on the ground. I mean, we didn't look bad on the ground, but it wasn't like it was a smash mouth. We ran for 150 yards, and then we were able to have that play action game because the run game was so good. No, we still had an amazing play action game, and the run game wasn't that, effective. It wasn't that efficient. We weren't running the ball a ton. I mean, what was it? Herbert's first, what? The first four, five, six play calls, passes, so it's like you see that. But what we were able to do in the passing game, despite not even having the running game clicking on all cylinders, I think that's what gets me excited. And like I said, I can't remember his name, but he's like, hey, you don't have to run the ball. Well, I guess he said Greg Roman proved that you don't have to run the ball effectively or actually run the ball to have a great play action pass game. He
Yeah.
said you got to be able to sell it. And
Yes.
what he did was he sold the hell out of that run game. There
Yep.
was so many concepts where coming out in like 13 personnel, and you got Tyler Conklin in the backfield as a fullback, and then him, acting like he's going to block up the middle, and then he leaks out on that kind of like a deep out route.
Yep.
So much. You got, Scott Matlock pulling across the formation, acting like he's, coming down the lead block, but play action. It's just he schemed up things so well.
Absolutely.
And it just makes me excited because what's going to happen when the run game is dominant? Like it's just like, what do you do defensively against us? Like, I mean, you
Yeah.
sell out against a run and get burnt on play action, or do you light in the box and you get killed on the ground? So
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see what I mean. It was one game, but man, I'm excited to see it.
Orlovsky, I think, is who the guy that was saying that. I was on NFL Live. Him and Mina Kimes broke down that play action effect. And like you said, we ran for 90 yards, but just the threat and selling it like we did made them believe because you mentioned it, Scott Malik pulling. We had pulling guards on throwing plays, play action. Like it's hard to not think it's going to be a run play when you have a guard pulling.
Yeah.
Um, and even Chris Sims on his on Puttin podcast was mentioning how KC sells out for to stop the run. Like that's what they're known for. So instead of
Yep.
us running into a brick wall and trying to prove, oh, we're tougher, we run the ball, that's our mentality. We were like, we have Justin Herbert, so we're going to use him. And obviously, he was great. So, and it worked out. So, yeah, probably the best game for sure in Roman's tenure that he's had for us as a play caller. Um, and I haven't studied his career closely, but be hard pressed to see if he ever called a better game than that because that was just a great game. Uh,
Especially throwing the ball. Running, yeah, obviously running. I mean, he's got those great Ravens, Lamar, all those guys. Throwing the ball though, he
yeah.
put on a show.
Yeah, KC sells out to stop the run, so we did exactly what we were supposed to. So credit to him for knowing that. I mean, look in the Super
Yep.
Bowl against the Eagles, the best running team in football last year. They didn't run the ball well. So what the
No.
Eagles do? They threw it on him, because
Yep.
KC doesn't like to get ran on.
No.
My thing that I liked was that second half. My final thought is just, man, when you look at it, KC came down. We went three and out to start the second half after just allowing them to score those 3 points because of Omar and running out of bounds, right? So
Yep.
it could have been that momentum turning point, right? We get the ball back. It is a 1 point game at this point because they missed their extra points because they
Yep.
went down and scored right away on their first possession. So we go three and out, they score, we get the ball back. We had a 12 play, 74-yard drive that took 7:33 off the clock and answered. Boom, touchdown. Right down the field. Like no really hiccups. We converted
No.
third downs. I think there's a fourth down conversion in there. Boom. What's the
Hmm.
KC does? They go down and score again. They missed the two. So now it's the 28-18 game with in the fourth quarter now with 12 minutes left. What do? 11 plays, 74 yards again, 7 more minutes off the clock, another touchdown. That's how you answer. And that's what winning teams do. We controlled the game, we controlled the ball, and we scored touchdowns. And we never gave
Yep.
them a chance. And then, they tried to do their thing and we finished with the ball. So I think those two drives, if we are playing football like that, can be such a big time thing. Like it can't be understated how huge of drives those were. I went back and I looked at it and I'm like, man, two back-to-back 11, 12 play, 7 minute drives for touchdowns. Crazy. Like we didn't allow Patrick to get it back in the game because of that. And he was trying. He brought him within
Absolutely.
one, he brought him within two, and Justin said, nope, we're not going. So love that. Couple streaks that were snapped. Seven straight losses of Kansas City is now snapped. So we're back in the win column against them. And 11-0 last year for KC in one-score games. Not anymore. So credit to us for doing that and stepping up. And on that note, we're going to move on to week two. It's Raiders week, like you mentioned. Don't know about you, but this is the biggest rivalry to me on our schedule, even living out here in the Midwest and how much KC's been in our way. Growing up in Southern California like I was, nothing more intense than Raiders Chargers week. So just a little game preview this week for us. What are you excited to see out there against the Raiders this Monday night?
Honestly, I'm excited to see more of the pass game. I know our running game is going to get clicking at some point here, and I know it's going to be electric. I mean, we got a Marion Hampton who just, what do you have? About he was about 16 carries, but a little bit under 50 yards. I think about just like 48, I believe it was. Um, And he looked good. I mean, like you said, you talked about that fourth and one conversion he had in that one drive where he wasn't going to be denied. I mean, he got hit behind the line, drove his legs, drove through the guy, got the first down. Some of those other big runs. I mean, he just looks explosive. I mean, and you can't. It's no arm tackle is not going to get him down. He goes through defenders.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see the pass game keep flourishing. I mean, we got the quarterback who, yeah, that's my quarterback. I think he's literally probably. I mean, Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, but talking about pure passing talent, being able to make every single throw, I think he's the best throwing quarterback in the NFL. Man, just looking at the things that he
Yeah.
does, I don't see a lot of the quarterbacks being able to do what he does. So I'm excited to see the passing game keep flourishing. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what Greg Roman will keep drawing up, because the Raiders are another team that's and take this with a grain of salt because they're not the Chiefs, but they're also a team that doesn't like to get ran on, and
Yeah.
their run defense typically is pretty good.
Yeah.
But looking on the back end, the DBs. Their secondary was worst in the league last year. Literally the worst in the league last year. They brought in some players. They brought in Eric Stokes, who is a first round pick, played with Green Bay. They got Darnay Holmes. I believe he's either in the slot or outside. Can't remember where he's playing. Don't really care because none of those guys are good.
Mhm.
And I just don't see them being able to cover our guys. I mean, who are you going to put on Lad? And you can't put anybody on Lad. What are you going to double him? Have fun. I mean, Keenan Allen, he's going to do whatever he wants to do. And then you see what QJ's out there doing. And then we got the youngsters who, they got some snaps last game, but we just have so many options out there. Not even mentioning the tight ends and the running backs. I mean, I just love our roster. I talked about it last week. Weapons. We got weapons, and I'm just excited to see them being used. So that's my number one thing that I'm excited about. If I had a particular matchup, outside of, pass game, receiving, I want to see that O-line go back to work again. They got Mad Max over there, and we know he's a problem.
Yeah.
Wasn't much of a problem for us last year, really, because Joe Alt was, we had Alt and Slater, so I mean, good luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Yeah, we got Pipkins on the right side, who I thought pretty played really well. He played really well for us last week. But we know that they're going to line up Max over Pipkins. So I'm just excited to see what the O line does, what Roman does, how he slides protection, chips, whatever the game plan is. I want to see how we neutralize Max Crosby because I think obviously anybody else going on the other side of the line versus Joe Walt, they're going to be neutralized.
Yeah.
So what are we doing to stop Max? What are we doing to, make sure that he doesn't, impact or wreck a game in which ways that we've seen him done before. So that'll be like what I'm excited about and like the number one matchup that I'm looking to see.
For sure. I think that's a great point. I mean, Max is their game wrecker, but as we saw with Chris Jones, I think we'll have a way to not let one guy disrupt the whole game. I know Chris Jones works a little bit more outside inside, but he did outside work too. You're 100% right. Max is probably going to be over there on Trey. And I think we'll see a lot of Will Dissly chips, a lot of Conklin chips, Hassan Haskins on third down chips. So slide to
Yep.
protection. So I think we got answer for that. For me, I'm right in line with you on what I'm excited to see. Really, I just want to see is Greg Roman going to continue to call a pass-heavy offense, or really just allow the game to come to them. If you look at Week 1, New England was had success in getting able to pass the ball against the Raiders. Now they didn't convert a lot and turn them into points due to them just not being a very great football team right now.
Yep.
But they had a lot of success doing that. And then also for us. 34 pass attempts compared to 18 design run plays, 69% pass rate, sixth in the league in week 1. There's no reason for that not to continue because the names you mentioned, so most of the people probably listening to this maybe never even heard of. So Raiders aren't coming to you outside of Max Crosby with anybody that's going to strike fear in you and be like, okay, what matchup don't I like? It's really people that we should be able to take advantage of, honestly. So I'm right there with you on being excited to see how the pass game continues to evolve because you mentioned those weapons, and it's a lot for Justin to go out there and pick. Okay, where's my best matchup on this play? Last week it was Q a lot, and that's why he had 2 touchdowns. You know, so I'm with you on the pass game, seeing how that continues to develop. Key matchup for me, I'm going to us on the defensive side of the ball. And this one's in the air now based on the injury report, but what's Derwin going to do against Brock Bowers? We know
Mm.
Derwin's pedigree taking away big time tight ends. We saw it last week
Yeah.
against Kelsey. If we don't jump on a fake swing screen and let Kelsey go down the field, he has 1 catch. You take away that big touchdown, it's 1 catch on
Yep.
4 targets. Or so outside of that, that's 3 targets, 1 catch outside of the touchdown. That's a lot of Derwin. He matches up and takes that person away in the slot, whether it's Brock Bowers or other big time receivers. He's capable of doing that. Brock Bowers is legit, man. He's the real deal. He had 5 catches for 103 in 3 quarters in week 1.
Yeah.
Against what
Because he
people
got hurt. He could have had
got
more.
could have easily been close to 150, 6, 7, 8 catches. So
Yeah.
he's a problem. He has a knee injury that he didn't come back into the game in when he left in the third quarter, week 1. Yesterday, he said he hopes to play. Carroll said that they don't think they can play, so about him and another injured player. Today,
Yeah.
with another DNP.
Yep.
Raiders do have one official practice tomorrow. Chargers don't have any more practices this week. So, we'll see what it looks like heading into Monday. I'm guessing he's going to play, but just knowing that he hasn't been able to practice for 2 days going into the weekend, obviously not 100%. So that's their game record.
Yeah.
And then even I think we still treat him with the same respect though. Like Derwin's that matchup, but that just
Absolutely.
makes that, someone that's wouldn't say easier to take away, but less of a threat out there to hit that home run, which I mean, it's him. It's maybe Jacoby Myers. He's a solid receiver, but their passing game was pretty tough last week. Going to touch on that a little bit more here in a little bit, but I think we have the answers to that compared to what New England was out there trying to do defensively.
For sure. I mean, New England got so many moving pieces. I mean, they got new coaches, they got tons of new personnel. I mean, they hadn't spent over 120 million this year in off season, bringing in pieces. So it's not going to come together in one week. Um, but yeah, I love that matchup. I mean, I love any kind of matchup that got Derwin James' name attached to it.
Yeah,
I mean, we just know what he's about. I mean, he's not out there playing games. BTB, be the best. I mean, in that mini movie, that's all you hear him saying. BTB, be the best. I mean, that's what he's trying to do. That's what he wants the team to do. Um, and that's what great players, great leaders do. They want more out of their guys. So
yeah,
no, I love that matchup. Like you said, Brock is he's definitely a problem.
yeah,
But not practicing. Obviously, if he plays, he's going to be limited. He's probably going to be on a snap count. I mean, I don't see how he plays a full amount of snaps,
Yeah.
playing through that injury at that. I mean, I feel like they're going to have to manage it some way if he plays.
Yeah.
But you're right. You still treat him like he's 100%. You don't give him any kind of breaks. You don't, no, it's full throttle. You at him because one play you might sleep on him or take a play off, and that could be a difference between, a touchdown or
Yep.
a incompletion. Who knows?
Absolutely.
So now I'm right there with you on that.
Yeah. I mean, Brock, that it's tough to risk a knee in week two of the season with such an important piece like he is to their offense. So
Absolutely.
I think they approach it with an abundance of caution. And you got to imagine too, if he's still this hurt, like if this was a Sunday game, he'd probably be ruled out right now because a Friday is your last practice.
Hmm.
So just because we have another 24, he might have the opportunity to play, but like, that's the guy that needs to be able to use that knee to get open and cut and make routes. So, and it's leverage against a guy like Derwin. He's still gonna have to block. He's a tight end. It's not like he's just
Yep.
out on the outside and hoping for no
Absolutely.
contact. So, yeah, he's definitely not gonna be 100%. So,
No.
moving on to our next segment, something that was highly profitable for you guys out there if you were just singling these up, or even if you took a couple of your favorites into a parlay. Our betting segment this week, we got a couple that we're going back to. Of course, we're going to start with our Bolt the Door lock of the week. But just to highlight last week, two for two, both of us on our Bolt the Door locks. So if you're taking anything, take these locks, and that's what I did. I went, I made some money off the locks, added some more. So it was a nice little Friday. We went 5 for 6 overall. Last week we did our both the door locks each. We did a favorite over under across the board, and then what was our favorite anytime touchdown? And you hit with Keenan Allen.
The
Unfortunately,
Slayer.
Slayer got in there, and unfortunately, Ryan didn't get in the end zone. But I still think that's a good pick. You might hear it this week from others. But yeah, so let's get us started. Bolt the door lock of the week, Justin. Where are you going?
All right. Bolt the door lock of the week. I'm going with my boy. Going with 10. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Got him at on FanDuel. Like I said, a lot of my props are gonna come from FanDuel. DraftKings is doing some cool things though, man. I might start moving over, man. That
Yeah.
ghost leg you put me on, man,
Uh,
that's game changer, man. That's definitely game changer. Definitely I gotta start betting some money in there to get that ghost leg my max bet up on it because $10 ain't gonna
yes.
do much for me.
Yes.
Um but yeah, I got Herbert over 1.5 passing TDs. Like I said on FanDuel, that's at minus 138.
Hmm.
So it's not plus money. But if you put 25 on it, you probably win about 20, 22.
Hmm.
It's not that far off. But that's my bolt the door lock of the week. He threw for three last week against a much better defense.
Yep.
And even though the Chiefs secondary was more vulnerable than their run game, the Raiders secondary is even more vulnerable than the Chiefs were. The Chiefs got at least they got Trent McDuffie. I
Yep.
mean, they don't got nobody for the Raiders. So I just think that not being able to have that even just that one guy that's like, hey, we need you to put, on this down. Hey, you're gonna be on lad. Hey, this down. We seen them doing stuff with QJ. You're gonna be on QJ. They don't have anybody to do that. So I just see, I just like you said, that continued persistence, improvement of that passing game.
Yep.
I don't see him getting under two touchdowns unless the run game is just like, hey, blow the doors off. But
Right.
I love that. I love that. Obviously, like you said, Drake May he threw for 287 against the Raiders. He had one touchdown, one interception, but that's Drake May, very young quarterback. Offensive line didn't play that well. The the,
Mhm.
the Raiders D line actually got a lot of pressures on Drake May, so that's
Yes.
another thing. So you just look at all those different things and how well our offensive line played. I think Herbert's gonna have a lot of time to throw, and we got receivers that know how to get open.
Yeah.
I see it happening.
Absolutely. I love that pick. Love it. Anything that has to do with my boy 10 out there. 1.5 over sounds like a lock. I mean, with the way that Raiders pass defense is. So I'm definitely writing that down for to put that in. My bolt the door lock of the week. I got the over on Geno Smith's interceptions at 0.5. I'm taking us to get a takeaway. We had zero last week. I don't think we're going 2 weeks into the season with us this defense with not getting a takeaway. I think Gino's going to get a little greedy and try to get something deep or something that's just not there after the success he had last week. Last week he was the Raiders led the NFL in an explosive pass rate at 26.3%. Okay. I don't think that's happening against the Chargers. We play a deeper zone scheme. We keep stuff in front of us.
Mhm.
Minter has a little bit more going on than what New England's got out there, and we just have more talent. So That is minus 115 on DraftKings. So I'm going over Geno Smith interception. I just think we take that ball away this week.
I love that, man. And Jaleel Adae today on um, Chargers Weekly talked about how quarterbacks nowadays none of them are really cool with just the dink and dunk, just methodically marching you down the field. They get frustrated with that. They want to take
Yep.
big shots. So I love that call out by you because you're right by that. A lot of these quarterbacks, they might do a couple quick throws here and there, but they're gonna get frustrated. They want that big play. And somebody we've seen it. I mean, especially with his tenure in Seattle, big play, big play. He loves
Yeah.
it. Our defense, we love to play too high, keep everything in front, come up and tackle. I see it. I like that. That's like I said, every week I'm definitely going 2 on 2. I'm putting all of our both the doors in the parlay without a doubt. So
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
definitely going in there, and I'm definitely gonna throw some other stuff in there too. We're gonna make some more money.
And look at Pat last week. He was having success on that quick one, quick one, quick one. But then he wanted to throw long to Tyquan Thornton or somebody else out there. And
Yep.
then it's on the center instead of for second and three after they got 6 or 7 yards on that first down quick hitter like they were doing.
Hmm.
Now it's second and 10, and we got him right where they want him. So he has to force something else,
Exactly.
or they try to run to shave a couple yards off, and we stuff it 3rd and 9. So, yeah,
Yep.
teams don't want to do that. Next up, we're going to go with that favorite over under. So where are you leaning this week? Favorite over or under?
So this one is I'm gonna stay with the receiver. Last week took Keenan Allen. His line was at 3.5 receptions. I have another receiver whose line is at 3.5 receptions. We got 7 targets last week. I'm going with QJ. QJ
Mm,
over 3.5 receptions. I just love the way that we utilized him last week. I think if you look at any game out of all the time that QJ, since he's been drafted, that is the first game that I've seen him be used the way that he should be all game long. Like he did have like one go ball that they did throw to him, and I believe McDuffie was on him at that time. I think they were probably just testing him, but that he had one go ball. The
yeah.
rest crossers.
Yeah.
He had one where he was in a slot. He ended up to play hike the ball. He ended up coming underneath, got the
Hmm.
quick little pass, got in the flat, kind of made a guy miss, bolted down the sideline. I just loved their usage of how they lined him up, how they moved him over. They had him in the slot too. I mean, like it's so crazy looking at what Roman did last week. I keep thinking of stuff that's happening, and I'm like, people are crazy. Why do they think that Ladd and Keenan gonna? Because they're both slot guys. Meanwhile, they got QJ in the slot, and
Yeah.
people come on, man. It's these guys are football players, man. They're gonna make plays no matter where they're lined up. Yeah, they may be better at a certain spot, but that doesn't mean that's all they can do. So yeah, so I got QJ over 3.5 receptions. That's at minus 118. I'd like I said, I just love what he did last week. He had 7 targets, 5 catches, 2 touchdowns. So I love it. 3.5. That's what I'm going with.
For sure. And to me, he just falls as that third guy in line. So all the attention's going to be on Ladd. And now we know what Keenan is. He's a vet. He's a presence. And when he's in that Charger uniform, that's 13. So the eyes are going to be there. Raiders know his history. They've seen him for a lot of games now. I think Q just runs wild again. So 3.5. I like that pick. I was calling him TCU Q last week. That was TCU
For
Quinn.
real.
That's the guy that we drafted in the first round. That's the guy coming on those drags and turning it upfield. So awesome, awesome pick there. I'm with you on the over. Looks like we're riding a lot of overs again. But my over is Justin Herbert's rushing. I actually had to go to FanDuel for this one. I'm usually on all my lines are on DraftKings. So I went over to FanDuel. They had him at 15 and a half. I'm going over that at minus 114. If you look, he had 7 for 32 last week. I think Max Crosby brings pressure. Pressure means he's either stepping up or escaping the pocket. What happens if they're not prepared? He's taken off. He showed he's willing to do that. 15 and a half is 2 8-yard scrambles for first downs.
Yep.
I think that's more than doable. So I'm going with, yeah, my boy 10 over 15 and a half rushing yards for my favorite over under this week.
Love it. I mean, we've seen what 10 does with his legs when he's healthy and when he knows. I mean, last year he wasn't healthy. He did not want to run the ball at all. First game, we seen what he's capable of and what he's willing to do. I love it.
Yeah. So hoping he continues that because if he's hearing all the praises these guys in the media are giving him, because it's not just us as fans and shoot me, my brothers, my pops, all that we've been asking to see those legs again. The media was asking for it. Guys like Chris Sims were wanting to see that. That's what separated him from guys like Mahomes, Allen to get those thirst downs, the first down that sealed the game for us. So I
Yep.
can't see that stopping after 1 week just because it's not the Chiefs or something like that. So
Mhm.
um last one, this is another one. A little sprinkle on any parlay. Anybody loves a good anytime touchdown parlay, anytime touchdown bet in general. That's what keeps Sundays going. So, who are you locking in? Who do you like for your favorite ATTD?
Man, I feel like I'm going pass game heavy over here, man. I got our boy. He's the only receiver that didn't get in the end zone last week. Lad
Mm,
McConkey, man. I
love it,
got him
love it.
anytime touchdown, plus 135 on FanDuel. I just love the odds, man. I mean, he's our top guy. He's our go-to guy. Yeah, QJ had two last week. Keenan had one last week. There was actually a play where Lad actually was open in the end zone, but we ended up
Yeah.
going to QJ. So I could have seen that going either way. But ultimately, like I said, he's our top guy. And I just think Raiders pass secondary is just so bad. I know we're gonna throw for some touchdowns, and I see Lad getting in the end zone this week. There might be some others that mix in there too, but I got Lad as my top guy this week. So plus 135, that's plus money. I'm loving that one.
Oh yeah, the distribution's there. I mean, the targets for everybody, and it's hard to think that Lad's not going to continue to get open. I think the Raiders might even have less of a priority of making taking him out of the game than the Chiefs did. Chiefs doubled him up a lot or bracketed him, so um, can't go wrong with 15. I'm right there with you. I see that happening. That's not my pick. So this week, I will say, if you're taking my anytime touchdown, you're feeling a little bold. We're feeling good, so I might single this one up. I'm not sure if I'm add this to the parlays if you guys, but if I'm you guys, I'm gonna throw it on there because for some reason it stuck out to me, and I went with my favorite, as in what was the number that I liked. Because if I had to pick the best one, I'm probably going to Amari, and I think he gets in this week. I think we're inside the 10-yard line, and he bursts and gets right through the hole and scores, or even inside the 5, and he's going to be the guy that scores. So if I had to pick the number one anytime touchdown bet, lock in Omarion. But my favorite one, and the one that I'm going to throw out here on the podcast that I got written down, in black and white, I'm going to Will Dissly, anytime
Mm.
touchdown score. Same situation. We're inside the 20, inside the 10. We're in that 2-3 tight end look. We got Matlock, we got Conklin, we got Disley out there, and then boom, all of a sudden play action, and guess who's standing over there wide open? Disley. That's at plus 350 on DraftKings. So I'm taking Will Disley to get
Hmm.
into that zone. Only two targets last week, caught both of them. So actually, excuse me, that was Conklin with two targets, caught them both. Will Disley only had one, caught it. But we've seen him get open before, and same situation as all those other guys. All the attention could be way over here. All of a sudden, boom, he's wide open. So, if you want to sprinkle a little something on there, a little extra flavor on there, plus 350 could get you a little nice return if you add it with something else or even just take it straight up. So, Will Disley, that one hits. You're going to hear me really talking about that next week.
No, man, I love it. I mean, it's juicy odds, but I mean, you look at the way, I mean, he's on the field. He's on the field all the time. Like you said, with the target distribution, you can't rule anyone out. And then with just the plethora of pass catchers that we have and the experience and the talent at wide receiver, those guys are going to be looking at those receivers. They're going to be trying to, like you said, either bracket lad or do that. Who's going to be open? Who's going to be unaccounted for? Who are they not going to be expecting to be in the end zone or make a play? It's
Yeah.
going to be probably Will Disley. Maybe 350. I'm willing to take the bet on that. I like that.
Yeah, so that's the reason I went with it. Like you said, the snap count. I was looking at the percentages, and that's why I took him over Conklin because it was between the both of them. Conklin was at plus 315 instead of 350. Disley was 57% of the snaps on offense. He had 37 snaps. Conklin had 28 snaps, 43%. So that's what was my deciding factor on choosing Disley, just because he's out there more. So the play action could be a possibility just off the threat of him being out there. Maybe he was out there more because, he think when you see him out there compared to Conklin, you think run.
Yeah.
But still, that still just proves my point even more.
Yeah.
That threat in the play action pass. So yeah, sprinkle that in there. So that's that betting segment. 5 or 6 last week. We came out the gates hot, so I'm really excited to see if we can continue that. I don't know how you've been doing in the rest of the leagues this year, betting wise, but I've been doing pretty decent myself, so I'm hoping to continue it, not just with our bolts, with the NFL altogether. And like you mentioned, give a shout out Ghost Leg on DraftKings. If you would have took 5 or 6 last week, you would have hit because that Ghost Leg. If you took all of ours, so Ghost Leg
Uh-huh.
would have came through for the bolt standard.
For sure. Yeah, that ghost leg
Uh,
is clutch. Like I said, definitely got to take advantage of that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So let's finish it off. What we're here for, Raiders week, game prediction. So, Justin, what do you think? Monday night, 9 p.m. Central Time for us out here in the Midwest. Where are you going?
So talk about the game a little bit. So obviously they got us as obviously favorites. I mean, which rightfully so. We're favored at -3 coming into the game. Over under of 46 on the total. 46 and a half, excuse me.
Yep.
So I think what they're trying to tell us is that, and I'm a little weary of it though, because I have us going, I have it going under on that total, not by much. And I'll give my prediction here in a second, but I have it going under on that total because I just don't think the Raiders offense will be good enough, especially with a hobbled Bowers,
Hmm.
to put up the amount of points that'll send that game into the over. Because I think we're going to score a pretty decent amount. But I do have it going under. So my prediction is I have us winning 27-17.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that we, from start to finish, I think we handle them. I think we handle them on the ground. I think we handle them through the air. And I think, like, I mean, I love your both the door lock of the week, man. Gino throwing that interception because I think we're gonna have some takeaways in the game. Um, and I also want to just kind of put out there that their O-line kind of struggled a little bit too against the Patriots. Something that
Yeah.
I didn't really expect because I mean Patriots, like I said, they spent a lot of money. They went and got Josh Sweat. They had, who was it? Milton Williams. They went and got some guys that could do some things.
Jabbar Moore.
Yeah, they got Barmore who's been there. They drafted him, but like I didn't expect the O-line to struggle the way they did. And I just saw that what's his name? JPJ for the Raiders. He was just added to the injury report. The
Mm.
guard who they
Yeah.
drafted last year. So they got a lot of guys that are banged up. I just don't see them being, even if those guys play, I just don't see them being able to stick in the game with us. They'll make it interesting. I think any of these division games are going to be interesting. But I think what we were able to show week one, the great protection, the just tremendous offensive play from literally everybody. I mean, especially 10, just never seemed rattled at all. Didn't matter what was happening. Got a little pressure on him. Okay, step up in the pocket a little bit, deliver a
Mhm.
dart. Up, they flushed me out the pocket. All right, see you later. Like it seemed like he just wasn't phased. There was nothing you could do to make him be like, oh my goodness. Like there was none of that. It was
Yeah.
literally, oh, you're coming this way. All right, I'll just go this way. Oh, you're gonna do that? Oh, then I'll just do this. It was it was just, I don't
Answers
know.
for everything.
It was so amazing seeing that. So yeah, that's my prediction.
Love it.
27-17, FTR.
Yes, sir. 27-17. I like that call. Back-to-back weeks with 27. I'll take that. That's good scoring for this offense. You made a great point. How can the Raiders shut us down and keep us to a point where that total isn't, we're not going over it as far as our team total or even the game total could creep up there just to based on us scoring more. Um, I'm going 31-17 Chargers. I think we really take control of this one for a couple of the reasons you mentioned, but I just think we're just a step better football team than them at this point. I looked at the history of last year's matchups, but then I ended up just not even deciding to bring it up because totally different team for the Raiders in every area,
Totally.
quarterback, head coach. So throw those out the door because and it was also week 1 and week 18. So two totally different teams on our end as well, as far
Mhm.
as we're a game away from the playoffs, or we're opening the year with a Herbert. So two totally different situations for us. So I threw those out the window. My a couple notes that I have on this game though that's going to really make it the difference, right? If we're going to get to that 31-17. First is Max. We talked about him a little bit earlier, but as long as Crosby doesn't wreck that game, I can't see anything else slowing us down offensively. Um, and I don't think we're going to let one guy do it. The last time he really, really, really destroyed our game was when we had Storm Norton on the right side, trying to slow him down. And Trey's a little bit better than that guy, the human cone, 74 Storm Norton. So he had one sack, two QB hits last week. When you look out at the pass rush outside of that, there are other edges that got snaps, basically split them down the half. So they're still trying to figure out who do they want opposite of Max Crosby. Tyree Wilson, Malcolm Kuntz. Both had a sack and two QB hits. So that's three D ends or rush ends that each had a sack, each had two QB hits. Um, but New England's offensive line was beat up. They didn't even have their top pick, Will Campbell, out there last week. So none of the guys on either side were going up against Joe Alt, which was the highest rated tackle in all of football last week, in his
Whoa,
first
whoa.
at left tackle.
Highest rated O lineman.
No, yeah, excuse me, my bad. Let me put some more respect on his name. Number one lineman graded in all of football last week. Okay, so um, and Trey Pipkins can hold his own, especially like we talked about earlier with getting some help, whether it's from a tight end, whether it's from a running back, whether it's doubling, sending a guard that way and the protection slide in that way, because we know we don't got to give help on 76. He's we see what he did. He was standing people up. He was standing one of the best defensive tackles in the game still up. Like we got people doubting if Chris Jones still got it based on the way that he looked against Joe Alt. So Max is the only issue on that D line. to slow down us getting to that four touchdown mark and a field goal. That's what gets you to 31. And then Geno Smith on the offensive end. But same thing about what I mentioned earlier. They had that explosive pass rate number one in the NFL, second most air yards per attempt over 10, but we don't let that happen. That's not our philosophy. So New England also was missing their best player probably on their team, Christian Gonzalez. So that changes your whole defensive outlook anyway. So they don't have a matchup for Brock Bowers like we do with Derwin James.
Yeah, their safeties are terrible.
It's hard to for me to think that Vegas is as good as they are based on the matchup that they had, right? And we can say we played a good team. Now, I don't think the Chiefs are as good as they've been in years past, but they're still the Kansas City Chiefs. And people doubted them all year last year, and look where they ended up. So obviously, that's a statement win for us. They had a good win. I'm not going to discredit it. They went to New England across the country, week one. They had high hopes with Vrabel out there. It was an early kickoff on the East Coast, and they handled their business. So I'll credit where credit's due. But we're not the New England Patriots. So I just think with all that being said, Genty was a mentioned factor. I think we keep it that way. They only have 56 yards rushing. All that stuff we talked about in the positives for the Raiders, which don't even really need to focus on the Raiders. It's really more about us. But they're only 5 of 13 on third down. That doesn't keep the game moving. So if you take away those big plays, which we do and we will, it's going to be hard for them to score. So um, really 17 might even be tough for them to get with the defense that will play, that bend no break style. But yeah, 31-17, we're bolting up. We're getting out of Vegas with a W. We're coming back home 2-0. And then I'm going to see them boys out there in SoFi week 3.
Yeah, man, I'm jealous. I'm jealous that you get to go out there, man. It's gonna be a great home opener. Start this off. Obviously, we got to get to 2-0 first, but then
Yeah.
obviously, moving on to 3-0 at our very first home opener this year. So, no, man, just some exciting stuff, man. Just loving what we're doing, loving what the Chargers got going on. Like I said, in all assets, man. I mean, I don't think that there's anything that I can really point to where I'm like, man, we were just terrible at that against the Chiefs. I mean, everything looks so good. And yeah, I know it's just one game, but it's the first game, and and for me, it's always the game where I have tempered expectations because I just don't know what I'm gonna see. It's the first game. I mean, yeah, you see what's going on in training camp, you see preseason stuff, but you just don't know how everyone's gonna gel because you got so much going on in preseason and training camp where you got, these receivers playing with this quarterback and this quarterback trying to, win himself a job. And you got these players fighting for a position. And it's so much going on where you don't know really what you're going to get. And I think what we got was exactly what we wanted. And I don't think any Charger fan could have any kind of ill feelings or bad taste in their mouth. Like, man, I just wanted to see. I don't think that there was anything that was like, man, there's nothing you could show me or tell me that doesn't tell me that this team has a bright future. And just even looking at our roster, man, I don't know if you saw it, and I meant to send it to you the other day because it came across my feed, but um, right now we're projected the second most cap space in the NFL next year. So just, I mean, this is next year. There's nothing for us to even be thinking about next year. But just seeing that, seeing how good we play, the talent we have, it's kind of crazy because I just don't. I wouldn't expect. I mean, I follow the cap pretty closely, and I look at all our moves and see how it affects the cap. But I just wouldn't expect for a team being this good and looking that good and having this much talent to also have that much money available.
Absolutely.
It was just something I was like, goodness gracious, that's a lot of money. So, but anyway, like I said, super excited, man. You have any final thoughts before we close it out here?
Man, I just can't wait for, another prime time game, Justin Herbert. So, I'll be ready. I'll be standing up. I gotta get locked in 9 o'clock on a Monday night, but it doesn't matter if it was midnight. I'd be there. I'd be bolting up. You can always count on me to be ready for my
Hmm.
bolts.
Might be one of these. Hey, I'm gonna be a little late to work on Tuesday. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah,
No,
they
I'm
gonna
just
need they
kidding.
gonna need Mr. Martin there in the morning.
For real. Walking in there real sluggish, but you'll be there.
Yep. Easy lesson. Free time.
Oh man, but no, listen, man, we appreciate everybody bolting up with us, being here with us. Like I said, man, this is something that we enjoy doing. We love bringing you guys the best content that we possibly can. We hope that you guys are just tuning in, that you're following along with us. Maybe betting's not your thing. Okay, don't take the bets. Maybe you love betting. That's all you want to see. All right, well, fast forward through to some of the content and get to it. But ultimately, like I said, we just hope that we're bringing you guys what you want to see. But if we're not, that's fine. You know what you can do? You could drop us a comment down below. Let us know. Hey, can you guys talk about this? Can you guys talk about that? we'll incorporate some of that stuff. So no, we would love the feedback. If you're not gonna drop us a comment, about some feedback, drop us a bolt. Just give us a like, give us a share. We would love to see the pod grow. And as the season goes, and we're posting more content. At least two pods a week. We would love to see our followers, our viewers grow. So
Mhm.
yeah, man, anything you could do, whether it's a like, comment, share, a subscribe, we would love it. So yeah, at the end of the day, bolt up. You got the Raiders next week. I'm excited. 9 p.m. Not excited about that, but we're gonna get this dub.
Yes,
So
sir.
bolt up.